Welcome to our special wrap-up episode for Gen Con 2015 here on the Roll for Crit podcast. I'm Jonathan Estes.
I'm Will Keeler, and as you can see, we are back to our normal set.
Yes, we're finally home.
Yep,
and
but we have all our goodies displayed here and behind us, so we're going to go through pretty much everything we didn't talk about. Through our mini episodes.
We hit most of the big guns in our mini episodes, so if you haven't watched that and you're like, why aren't you talking about this, this, and this, and this, it's because we already did. You can find all that at rollforcrit.com/GenCon15.
Right, but of course there was so much we couldn't fit them in there. This is where we're going to try to cover a lot of it.
Yeah.
So why don't we start with the WWE game?
Great place to start.
I got a chance to play this. If you don't know the WWE, it's the wrestling. Pretty much all the wrestling jokes you ever hear in life are from that.
And like, this is Gale Force 9,
yes.
Publisher of Firefly.
And when I played it, I got to say, wasn't what I was expecting.
Really?
Yeah. You know, I expected just to be like moving around and like maybe a dice rolling, something very simple. Just like we just threw wrestling on this, so. But the way it worked is there's figures for each character.
So you expected it to be bad, is what you're saying?
Well, simple, very simple. Like I didn't need to. You wouldn't need to think much or something.
Okay.
I wouldn't say, that's not bad per se. Each character has their own deck of cards specific to that character, like backs on them, and you put each character in the corner. So I played a simple 1v1 game.
Are there any babies? Because you don't want to put them in the corner.
No, there weren't any babies. There were plenty of other characters for you to choose, but we played the simple 1v1. There's also like other modes, just like in actual wrestling, you can do death matches or 2v2. Anyways, as you use cards. You have 3 spaces in front of you. You each play 3 cards face down. You reveal them, and you reveal the first one. You compare, and there's like movement, slam. There are 4 different kinds of cards. And the whole idea is you sort of rock paper scissors, and if you win. Each card, though, has a specific thing on it. It's not like all movement cards are the same. Like, each move has a thing, and this is a movement type card. And then I might let you move forward and do something. And the way your deck is actually your life, too. So your goal is to either, you can buy, if you're outside the ring and they lose cards, instead of discarding, they actually get removed from the game. Either pretty much make them so they can't do anything else, you tire them out.
So sort of, like you're literally too exhausted to do any more moves.
Or what can happen is if you beat them more times in the ring, you can try to pin them, in which what happens is certain cards have a kick-out symbol on them. And you have to reveal top of your cards, I believe it was 3. And if you don't get a like 1, 2, 3, and you don't reveal a kick-out, you lose. And that's how I actually beat Neil when I was playing.
That sounds cool.
But if you do get the kick-out, then you're not out yet. So it's a very fun, interesting card mechanic. Like I remember what would happen is early on, Neil hit me with slams right off the bat. And slam is actually like wild. It beats all 3 of the other kinds. So he hit me really hard, so I started thinking, okay, I need to go and get my slams on him and stuff.
Right.
So it was actually really fun. This is just a 1v1 too. I love the idea of actually, because the rock, paper, scissors, it was rock, paper, scissors with the slam though, and the fact that they're actually different though, because even if you won, you might not do anything. So it's like, do I want him outside the ring or do I want to try to pin him?
Interesting.
Like it had a whole
Sounds like it feels like a real wrestling match.
No, it did.
Or a real WWE wrestling match.
There were no chairs and ladders as far as I can tell in the game. But what's cool, the figures, so like all the characters, if you do the teams, let's say whatever your team is, they actually come with little color bases so the figures fit into them. So you can be like, this is the red team, so everyone knows which side you're on if you're controlling red or blue.
That's cool, yeah.
So it was really fun.
No,
I want to play it again.
That's one that I was disappointed I didn't have time to go check it out because I wanted to. I walked by it like every day and I was like, I'm gonna come back to you because I love all their games.
I gotta lie, not gonna lie though.
Don't lie.
The fact that their board was the table, like they made a nice glass table, made it like so much better.
Gale Force 9 had really nice demos set up. So that's one of the cool new upcoming ones. We also got to pick up one new game and one that's been out for a few weeks, but is pretty new. From Z-Man, Dark Stories, and from Cryptozoic, Spyfall.
Yeah.
Both new to us, though, and this was our car ride home.
Right, yeah, so if you've been following our Instagram or tweets, we actually talked about playing these games.
So they were a lot of fun, and the one nice thing, you can play them in the car. They're different. So we'll start with Spyfall. Well, just briefly, because Spyfall has been out, so if you're not aware, it's everybody's in a location, one person is the spy, doesn't know where they are, and you're trying to ask people questions to try and guess where you are without the other players revealing that information to you. So, and I thought it was a lot of fun. Just
overall, though, we should mention the spy did not win.
Yeah,
I think.
Well, we had some problems because first of all, we messed up some of the rules when we first played, and we also only had 4 people.
Yeah.
It goes from 3 to 8, but it seems like
you really want that second half.
More is better.
Because I remember the only time the spy won was me. Really won. The one time I just technically won the first one, but we made a mistake, so I shouldn't have. The spy won. I won because what happens is once you do a location, you're removed from the game, so it can't be that one again. And it conveniently, the first question asked and the way it was answered worked in my favor because I already knew like certain ones were out, so it could only fit into like 2 or 3.
Right. Although wasn't there one you didn't know about that also could have been in retrospect?
Yeah, in retrospect, yeah. But overall, it was really fun. I definitely think it would work. Like I want to do this 8 because I feel like then it's going to be really fun. Some of the things were hilarious how the answers turned out, and some things I remember someone answered a question. I was like, "Oh, that's a brilliant clue the spy wouldn't get, like to let you know you're not the spy." But later we're like, "Yeah, I was just no."
you read way too much into it. It was not a clue at all.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was a lot of fun. Really happy that we picked that one up, and we'll have it for sale probably on our site while this video is up too. So check that
out. Speaking of which, the other game, Dark Stories.
Yeah.
What this is like reminded me when I was a kid because they always had those 5-minute detective books, and when they read a small clue and you try to guess what's going on, and usually because there's some weird twist. Mm-hmm. And that's what this game's really all about.
Yeah, it's almost, like we said, it's almost not, it doesn't fit into the same category as almost any other board game or tabletop game. It's one person reads the question, or the story, and everyone else asks them questions, yes or no, to try to figure out what happened.
Right. For example, one story.
Don't give it away, though.
Well, no, I'm not going to give it the actual way, but I'm going to say what a story would be. A story might be a woman was busy on her phone. That's it. You hear 1 or 2 lines, and it's up to you to find out what does that mean, what happened.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell you what happened in that one.
You gave away. You didn't mention part of that one, I don't think, but the fact that she also died and was in a car. It said more than just she's busy on her phone.
I couldn't remember if that was mentioned.
I think she died. Because that's not a good story.
Right.
They usually have more of a hook than that.
Yeah, but they usually 1 or 2 lines. Something so simple like what? And
yes. And then you fill in all the details, and it's like a puzzle or a mystery. So that was a lot of fun too.
And what was really nice about that, because sometimes you're thinking about twists. I remember there was one. I'm not going to mention which one, but I remember we kept singing. You're just like, oh, you're one step. If you take 1 step sideways, you get it all.
Yeah. It forces you to think creatively and
yeah, you have to think about all those weird things like. He didn't say see, but maybe they can hear or something weird. So,
but that isn't quite out wide release yet. But I think very soon, probably maybe next month or something.
Definitely something cool to pick up, especially if you just a casual kind of Car Ride was perfect. That was the perfect.
Another cool, brand new, upcoming game, not released yet, that we got to see from our friends at Black Locust Games, who we did a video recently for Regnum Angelica, if you didn't see it. Oh, they have their next game, which is called the Opulent, which is a completely different style of game. 2 to 4 player, maybe even 1 to 4 players, co-op, where it takes place in the 1920s during the bootlegging period, Prohibition era, and you are running a bar.
You and your
club/bar.
Yeah,
you and your friends.
Speakeasy.
Speakeasy. So everyone has a different role. One person's the bartender, band leader,
and manager,
and the doorman.
Bouncer.
Yeah.
What's really cool is that pretty much each character has their own mini game to try to help out the speakeasy.
Right.
I was a bartender when we played, and my goal was pretty much I had to manage resources of the drinks like beer. It was beer, whiskey, ice, and fruit. Garrett had to play music with a band with note cards, and you were the manager. You were sort of a wild. You could help out everyone.
So everybody really has a very different experience, but everybody is affecting each other. So there's a lot of having to communicate and discuss. Should I do this? Should I do that? And just so what do you think of it?
I thought it was really cool, and we forgot to mention because we only did one story. But scenario. The thing is, it's actually meant to be similar to a campaign like Descent.
It is literally a campaign.
Yes, you can play just randomly. I think that Mice and Mystics has this where you can just do random ones.
Yeah,
or
most games do with campaigns.
The way it works is because it's each year within the Prohibition. So they actually will throw in events. There's an event deck. He is the manager. You draw that actually would correspond to what's happening that year. And also, of course, you can be rated. And what's really cool, there's actually an upgrade tree, so you can upgrade like a floor safe to make sure your money doesn't get stolen when you're rated, or like certain characters, like a casino to help build. Like, so there's actually like a tech tree.
Yeah, well, I mean, so like what I loved about this was just the theme really came across. Like all the things you just said, they don't sound like game mechanics. They sound like things you would do if you were running a club in 1927 or whatever. And it was in such a cool way. It was really fun, like. I wasn't the band leader, but I can imagine you kind of feel like, oh, I'm playing the music and this guy likes it and this guy doesn't like it.
Yeah, it looked beautiful too. The way they actually have photos of their friends and stuff dressed up in characters. Oh, we should mention this is great. Each card actually has a profile on the back of just the character. Like it's not important to the game really, but it's really funny.
They have a full like biography for each person that comes into your club.
And there's also certain people who you don't want. Like there's the town drunk. There's the one who's hogs the dance floor. Speaking of which, the town drunk's back is just like, he works. Like, it's hilarious.
But yeah, so it was very. And I know some of that stuff was not final, but even in its unfinished state, looked really cool.
No, we had a lot of fun playing it. I think. Well, first of all, also the fact that campaign game. I feel most of the campaign games I think of are all very sort of knight, sword, dragon, fantasy. Yes, thank you. I thought this was much different. I liked the idea because also you mentioned this. It didn't seem to us that an alpha gamer appeared. Like no one ever, even though you were the manager, you weren't going, I'm doing this. You're more like, all right, who needs help?
Right, exactly. Yeah. So everybody, gets to feel like they're doing their own thing. Yeah. So.
No, and there was definitely integration. Like the doorman would be like, "Okay, do you want me to send this guy in or not?"
Right.
And then we'd each look at our own bar tables and stuff. Like, I can fit this. I can maybe get this beer in, but I don't want another whiskey or something.
Like so when I want to compare it to XCOM is the first thing that comes to my head, but.
No, actually, I think that's
not on a timer, but sort of the same vibes.
4 people doing completely different things, except this one's much more.
But even then, that's the only game I could think of that really comes close to it. But I'm really excited. So that will be launched on Kickstarter later in the year. So we'll wait to check that out. What else do we get to see?
Well,
we stopped by Passport Games Studios.
Right, Passport Games. You got to try out. Games.
Oh yeah, well I saw one, Pocket Imperium. This was a Kickstarter, I think.
Yes, I actually backed it, which you did not know until later.
And this was cool. Just briefly, it's like it's a micro game, sort of in the vein I call it like Eclipse, but much smaller and shorter. And maybe with a little bit of the scoring kind of reminded me of Dominant Species in a way. But it's a cool space, what do they call it, 4X?
Right, yeah.
Exploit, expand, whatever. And so it was actually pretty fun. So I won't go into all the details because that's info is out there, but I tried that.
Another one
you got to see.
Yeah, well, I actually own the game. I'm going to show it right here.
Oh, yeah.
Kingsport. But I did a demo because I actually haven't had a chance to play this yet because we've been so busy with all these things. And it was a lot of fun.
You did a demo of the base game?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they actually gave me a little promo here, the Terrible Old Man promo. But it was a lot of fun. Apparently, it's actually like Kingsburg.
Sounds like it's a picture of my father-in-law.
But the really cool thing, it was their new game, which is actually back here, Warehouse 51. What the story of that is, the U.S. actually just ran out of money, and they had to auction off all their stuff they've stored away over their years of power. And they're all these ancient secret artifacts, and you are all rich moguls kind of deal, and you're trying to get them because you want an amazing collection. And so what you do is you're going to be buying. It's like a regular bidding game, but the thing is it has some twists. First of all, beginning of the game, there's a deck called the fake deck.
There's a deck.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same copy of all the cards in the deck, but they say fake like forgery. Thank you, forgery on there.
You just thanked yourself.
Yes, and you put a card in between each player, and you're allowed to look at the cards next to you. And what that means is at the end of the game, when scoring's done, you flip those over, and if anyone has those cards, they don't count their scoring because they're actually fakes. And that's really cool because then you sort of know half, and then you have to be like, okay, I don't want other people to know that these are forgeries. But there's also ways to get around it. Like, for example, Thor's hammer gives you something called like a little token that if you put on an item at the end of the game, even if it's a forgery, still counts as real.
So it's a bidding game, but like the items that you bid on actually have different powers and stuff.
Right, and that's really cool. Like there's some that are good, some that are actually cursed. Like some say you will always lose ties. Like
so is it like you're trying to, you don't want to bid on that?
No, because you still want sets, and certain ones give more points. So it's a fun little give and take. Like, is this worth me getting to complete my set of the green? Because there's like 4 colors, like Asian artifacts, like medieval artifacts, like each groups, and it also reminded me a lot, also because the name's so similar to Warehouse 13, which is sort of based the TV show, which is sort of based. I wonder if they actually watched it and I was like, this is a good idea.
I have to look that up. Yeah,
I'm very curious. But for a small game, also what was funny, I should mention, at the store they actually got French cards instead in the boxes. Which is funny.
Oh yeah, you told me that.
Yeah, but they gave me English ones so we can still play it. But I can't wait to try that out. It looks off fun. Oh, and another interesting thing, the money, instead of going to a central bidding area, like a pot, what happens is if you win, you pass your money to the person to the left. So all the starting money is there in the beginning of the game, and it sort of passes around.
Huh, interesting.
So sometimes bidding high might hurt you because then, like, I'm giving it to him.
So that sounds kind of like Mad King Ludwig, where like the first player is always the guy who gets, instead of like having
sort of it. Yeah, exactly. That's what happens, and it's a very interesting style. So I definitely want to try it out when we get a chance.
That sounds cool. I've enjoyed a lot of bidding games that we've played. It's usually a pretty fun mechanic.
And of course, I've loved Warehouse 13. So seeing this, I was just like, yay!
I want to buy Thor's hammer. Real quick, we also we didn't get to see it. We just walked behind the show floor the new Red Dragon Inn game, which we thought was just like number 5.
Right.
But it looks like it's a box that fits all the previous versions.
Right.
As well.
Now that's really cool.
Yeah.
And of course, new characters with it.
Of course.
But which is perfect because I think that's what they need. Because I mean, let's see, there's 4 boxes. I think at least 6 small ones.
At least, yeah.
Which is really cool. I mean, we have played the first one.
Right.
We haven't played with the other ones, and that was very fun and interesting.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I never even thought about it before. It seems like a no-brainer to have a big box for it.
Well, it's definitely something, like we actually mentioned before, I think a lot of games are trying to realize not collector's box, a box that fit all their stuff is becoming a bigger deal. Like, we saw Smash Up do it. We talked about Legendary and Cryptozoic are both looking into their deck building games to make boxes. Yeah. I think it's something that it's sort of the quality we're starting to expect from them.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to make a lot of expansion games and we're buying them, I think, like...
Yeah, the more people buy expansions, the more popular it gets, the more they get complaints about, we can't buy any more games because we don't have room for them. So you're going to have to help us out
a little. Just like Games on Outfield, if you build it, they will buy it.
Exactly. Wait, what dreams may come or something, right?
Right.
Not Angels in the Outfield.
Oh, sorry, I mixed them up. I saw baseball in my head.
2 different movies.
And that's what came to my head.
It'd be a good crossover, though. Of course, they had a bunch of smaller developers there. Well, Black Locust we already talked about, but they had a whole section for Kickstarter kind of people, indie developers.
You got to meet the guys there who you didn't get there because they came in the mail, but
if you haven't heard of Tuesday Night Games and their game 2 Rooms and a Boom, which is really popular, it's been a whole big mess of delays on Kickstarter, but they finally had it released. It was there in time for Gen Con, and of course they played at every show and every convention, so really excited to try that out. Hopefully we do get to that soon. Maybe do a video on it.
And we actually opened it, and those cards the whole thing, the box is amazing, the cards are amazing.
High quality, like very sturdy, durable cards.
Yes, you can actually see it's hiding back there on the shelf.
And also one that we got to check out, Paco Game.
Yeah. You got this before Gen Con, so we did get to play a little bit before.
Yeah, we didn't actually play any at Gen Con, of course, because we never have time to play any games. But that's a really fun game, and it was really fun to talk to the designer, Chris Handy, and learn about some of the how you work around limitations with small cards and stuff.
No, definitely one to check out. Especially, I think our favorite so far has been.
Oh yes,
and
it was awesome.
It's the game when you get aggravated, but love the fact you get aggravated because the people you're playing with are idiots.
I think we played it like 4 times in a row.
Yes, we did.
That was a really fun game.
Another big Kickstarter was actually one of the first games I ever backed was I'm just blanking on the name right.
Secrets
of the Lost Temple. Yeah, Lost Tomb. I always mix it up because of the show. But they actually because their game they finally got. I should be getting it soon. I'm really excited about. They had promos there each day to visit, which is really cool. This is just some of the big cards what they look like in game. They actually also on the last day actually gave out the micro game. We played it before. If you remember.
Right. Yeah.
What's really cool is it's sort of like Betrayal, in which you build through tiles. But the idea is you're cooperative going through a temple. And this temple is like sort of almost like Illuminati kind of. All of the secrets were locked away here by the Perseus, and now you choose a scenario, and that scenario is what's going wrong. Like one was Leonardo da Vinci made a machine that made zombies, and it's accidentally going off. It's really cool, and I'm really excited to get it. They were there, and they had a really cool little booth. They actually made like a little temple with torches and stuff.
Ooh.
Like I think it was one of I think the coolest, judging strictly on built. Like that, besides Upper Deck, which literally had, Predator.
Right. Yeah. You also got to see Evolution, right? It was another Kickstarter, right?
Both it was, yes. This is interesting because this is by North Star
Games.
North Star Games, and most of the ones we know from them are Party.
Right, at least up until
this one.
Yeah.
And what was interesting about this one, actually, you have them here, but I backed it for just the expansion because I had the base.
Because this is the second edition of the game, which we do sell.
Yes, they actually gave me new decks because what happened is they found that Herbivores, the central pool for vegetation was too big. So they changed the numbers in some of the other cards. So they actually gave me 2 decks to replace for my first edition, which is really nice.
Yeah, that's really cool that they did.
And I can't wait to try that out because we've played the first edition and we have enjoyed it, even though.
Yeah, we played it a few times.
And the truth is, we both have noticed
yeah,
there's never that
we never run out of stuff.
But I think that's going to make things much more interesting. Maybe going first, or maybe more people forced to do carnivores.
Yeah, and you got the flight expansion, which is not out widely just yet, I don't think. Or maybe very soon, I don't know.
And that's exciting too, because that adds a whole new set of cards flying and stuff.
Yeah. So that definitely looks cool. And then what else did you get to see from Greenbrier Games?
Well, Greenbrier Games, if you don't know, they do a bunch of Kickstarters, and they actually had something like Yashima, I believe it is there.
Right.
As well as some of their other ones, even a demo for a new one.
I remember that one.
Yeah. That's coming out soon. They are also giving away these little figures, one each day. I only got 2 because the line got really long. But what was really cool was they apparently picked up a new guy. Someone designed a game and they picked it up. It's called Aegis. What it is it's a combat robot game. You choose a team of 5 robots that each fall into a certain group. Assault, evasive, guard, like Aegis. That's where the name comes from.
Okay.
And you move along to fight. But what you can do is you can combine them. So then you can make an assault evasive type, and you combine them. And that's really cool. I love the idea of building robots. You don't search your deck. It just has a deck for every combination. Like you can even fuse all 5 of your team to make like a full robot. This is a promo they're giving away. And I love these nice big cards too.
So there's a lot of possible combinations.
Yeah, there's it's whole crazy thing. So you can make, and you don't have to have one of each color on your team. So if I'm more of a guard evasive kind of guy, so I'll do mostly that. So you can do really cool, it's like you build your team and you can do whole combinations. It's going to be a Kickstarter. I talked to them later this year, hopefully.
Okay.
Which I'm really excited about because this, I love, you know Power Rangers, a mega. I love the idea of robots combining and fighting and stuff, and this just sounded so cool.
Giant robots.
I don't know why I love these when the cards are a little bigger like this. It just,
it makes it stand out more.
Yeah.
And it's easier to look at and read the text on it.
And I love the idea behind it, and also the fact that since it's not a deck you search, but you still have hundreds of combinations.
Yeah.
And of course, there are also legendary pilots too, had their own robot and stuff.
You played Custom Robo, that old video game?
Yeah, I did. I like that one a lot too.
Yeah, building robots, it's always fun. I think we've now covered most of the new unseen games that we've seen. Actually, before we mention the last thing I have on the list, there are a couple of games that I got to play that are not new that I just thought were cool, which are. First was Homeland from Gale Force 9 again, that has been out for a while. Finally got a chance to play it. It's basically sort of like a streamlined version of Battlestar Galactica. And based on the TV show, everybody is a government agent, but one person is secretly a terrorist, and you're sabotaging everything. Right. And there's always there are other possible hidden roles too. So one person might want some bad things to happen, but they want to not be killed by terrorists ultimately. So that was really fun to finally check that out. Also got to play Xenoshyft, which is an alien sci-fi deck building game that I think
Cool Mini or not, which is surprising.
Yeah, which you would really like it, I think. What makes it feel so different from most deck building games, it's sort of, in the center, like Dominion, you have your piles of what you can buy, but it's more like a wave-based shooter or what do they call those? Tower defense, where after each round, after you're buying, you have enemies, and each person goes one at a time, and whatever you've managed to buy, you have to fight with your troops and whatever weapons you've been able to equip and armor, and try to not get your base destroyed. Every time they get through past an enemy, they hit your base instead.
Right.
And you can also, it's cooperative, so you can play med kits on people, and you can try to play, like if someone can't kill an enemy, you might have a grenade you can throw at them before something happens. So that was really fun. That was not really on our radar, although we have it for sale. So that's really exciting. So was there any other, you played mostly new games and stuff, I think.
Yeah.
But you did get some promos for some old stuff.
Like any convention there are, but here we got so many promos. I mean, we'll show pictures on, but like I have here for Y. Schwartz with Attack on Titan, Force of Will, Mage Wars, Boss Master. But one of the things I want to talk about first, promos, was this one. It is King of Tokyo, New York, it's the same thing.
What, King of whatever?
It was Dracus, which they had at a booth, which is really interesting because I've seen some of their promos for Essen. And part of me has always wondered because I know, for example, the Powered Up expansion builds small decks. And if they're ever going to actually do anything with the promos, is there going to be maybe release promos regularly? Like, it's always been very interesting because, like, they don't actually matter outside of those little decks because it's just a character of this. You can actually make your own if you really wanted to.
Right, it's just different artwork.
Right.
Really.
I mean, and I am very happy I got this because I think out of all the promos I've seen so far from them, I like the look of this.
The art is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. And this will be available. It was not Gen Con exclusive. They'll have it, I think, on Board Game Geek's promo store. If
they will?
If
They
not
mentioned?
other places,
Okay.
yes.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
I think, and like a lot of the money goes to charity and stuff too.
That's awesome.
So don't feel too left out. You can get your hands on this.
But also, I think another cool thing I want to point out that we saw was, I mentioned Y. Schwartz earlier and Force of Will. What both booths did is they actually gave 2 little mini decks like this and this here. So you can actually play to learn the game. And I know that's always, that's a really good thing because, I mean, we see these things and you're like, I don't want to get into another card game I don't even know how to play, but like, this is the perfect thing to give away,
It's a smart way to do it. It's basically giving your first hit of crack for free. I mean, that's what it is.
Another promo I think we should talk about, not exactly a game promo, is this.
Yeah, of course. So Sun King Brewery is the official beer brewery of Gen Con, I think for multiple years now. This is like their 5th year or something doing it. But this was the first time they actually had commemorative cans, which is really cool. We got, and actually the beer was actually really good.
Right, and
drink responsibly.
Let's actually read, they actually have a little blurb here. Captain's log, stardate 68952.7. After spending 4 days at warp speed, the brewers from Sun King reached the Red Planet, where our arrival was celebrated with a most illogical drink. Brown sugar sweetness and flavors of caramelized dark fruit, cloaked inside what appeared to be a blonde ale.
Oh.
Despite our disbelief, we all agreed. When you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. So just a hilarious little nerdy, like, oh look, it's Star Trek.
They embraced it completely.
Yeah, and you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was really good, and it was also fun. They have the food truck area every year. There's like the little beer garden thing.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. Everybody had a good time there. But so so we can get on to like the more general, not exciting new news, but just Gen Con cool stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool stuff that we saw. You already talked about the booths from Upper Deck and Secrets of the Lost Tomb. Were there any other like cool booths that you saw?
Well, Boss Monster had a statue of the original boss, the green frog, like.
Oh yeah.
And if you ever follow them on Instagram or Twitter, they were posting pictures of people with them, like. I think people apparently were putting pennies in his mouth and stuff, like.
Yeah, there was some outside of the Greater Than Games booth. They had I guess, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it was Omnitron 4 from Sentinels of the Multiverse. One of the developers or employees was in a suit, like a full-on cosplay of that character, and it was huge.
Yeah.
So that was really. Anytime they do stuff like that is really cool. Yeah, or somebody was in a Beat costume.
Yeah. Speaking of which, cosplay, there's more there, and I think it was really funny because I feel a while ago, I don't know if we talked about on the show, we talked about how, like, I mean, we've seen cosplay in many conventions, like you get your video game characters, your TV characters. You don't really see board game characters, and I think we did still see a lot of like what you'd expect general cosplay. You saw Binding of Isaac. I mean, we saw Mad Max cosplay, like things rent general. But I think we're starting to also see more board game, like things actually from board games. Like we saw the Contessa.
Oh, that's
which
right.
was really cool, and it was really
Coup.
good. Yeah, from Coup, and I was just like, that's a great idea.
Were there any others?
Not off the top of my head.
Because
Like,
I don't think
there weren't though. But I think they're starting to. Like people. Are actually,
guess.
My point is,
yeah.
like, there were others. I can't think of. I think that was because that was the most recent one. The last ones I saw before we left. But like the idea of like maybe choosing games, like trying to. I can't think of off some of the top of my head.
Yeah, I think.
I'm sure if we actually brainstorm, we can think of some.
But I thought the cosplay people had was super impressive. I'm like,
no, every time I see cosplay, no matter what, I'm just like, I wish I had the determination you had.
I think my favorite ones, there was a group of people that were dressed like Splatoon characters. So they had squid hats and super soakers. There were some amazing, like there were some really good Star Wars ones, like you said. There was one based on the game Papers, Please. For he had a little.
Yeah, I've seen that one a lot. I love that one.
I think it's the same people. Like they go everywhere.
Yeah, I remember. He gave me a stamp. He gave me. I didn't pass.
So yeah, it's like there were some others. We took some pictures.
Yeah.
But some were just. It's amazing what people do.
No, it's just amazing what they can get through too. Like you wonder how do you make that, and they make it. Like,
yeah. My other favorite one was Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy, who was playing the soundtrack and walking around singing along to it, and he looked just like Peter Quill, whatever his real name is, Chris Pratt. So that was really cool. There was a few games that I got to pick up also that were also old, like that I've been looking for. Oh, Bunny Moose Moose. Patchwork. Neil got the new Star Trek game, which we haven't had a chance to look at, 5-year mission. So I'm excited to see what that's like. Anything else that you bought specifically that you're like excited about that isn't maybe necessarily a new thing or that was a gift or?
Well, I bought New York 1901 for my father because he's a big fan of history of New York.
The year 1901.
Yes, of that year, specifically that year.
He loves that, yeah. But it is a great place to Gen Con to find stuff that, hidden gems and things like that. What else did we see that we might want to talk about? Why don't we get into our real big wrap-up stuff?
All right. What was your favorite thing from
favorite thing from Gen Con? Well, are we talking about? Because I think we should limit it to.
Go ahead.
Favorite demo we actually played.
Okay, favorite demo.
Because we might just be like, oh, Ash's Phoenix Sworn is really cool, but we didn't really get to play it yet.
Okay. I'm waiting for you.
Let's see. I don't know. I have to think about it. There are a lot of things that were really fun. Favorite demo that I played completely? No. You go first.
I actually think my favorite would be the Attack on Titan.
Oh.
I thought it was really fun, unique. I wanted to play that one more. It's one of the few. There are plenty that would fit but that was definitely one I wanted to come back to.
That's a really
good
one.
I love the vertical board idea. I know there's some that surprised me, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. Actually, Favor of the Pharaoh was a big one. I really liked that.
Terra, I like that one a lot.
Terra, yeah, was really fun. I mean, I'll just say across the board, in terms, I'll say best showings I thought were Bazir Games actually, and it's almost not worth mentioning, but Fantasy Flight, but Fantasy Flight is so big. I feel like they always have the best showing because they have so many games to show off. But I really did love Hoax was really cool.
Oh, that was a good one.
They just had lots of cool stuff going on.
So what about surprising?
I think the biggest surprise, just because I didn't really know about it, might be the Opulent, as a game that I wasn't, we didn't mention it in our preview or anything, and it kind of blew my mind a little playing it, how cool I thought it was and how much fun it was, what a great concept it was.
I got two tied. One of them was because I didn't expect it to be. The other one is because I didn't know how it would work. I'm gonna do that one first because we actually did this during the trade day. It was I actually played a little bit of the My Little Pony card game because I always wondered, how is that a card game? You're not fighting each other. So apparently you're actually helping each other's problems, which is hilarious because you actually can sort of solve their problem that helps you. So it's I just imagine I fixed your problem. But the other one was the WWE game. That was another one I was just I expected it to be more if you're a WWE fan, you enjoy it. It's not the most, but I feel like I could bring this to almost any table and it'd be a lot of fun. It really, I thought it was a really great, well done game.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. I will say, I think this actually is surprising for me. I think Cryptozoic, and we talked about this, has really started to branch out a lot.
No, they have.
This year they have the Portal game, Attack on Titan, and also Spyfall, which we played. They seem to be really going outside. Like, I'm surprised how many of the games that I saw and was excited about this year came from them, because usually it's a lot of licensed stuff and they're more deck
Well, those were
building.
licensed, but I think
True, but in a different. But they take them in a different direction. Like, one is, like, Attack on Titan is Antoine Boza.
Right.
And the other Portal is Valve, the company.
Right.
They're really, it seems like they're really trying to find new avenues, which I think is really cool.
And Spyfall is original.
Yeah, I think it's originally a Russian game, but yeah, they say took it. And like that, like when I heard about Spyfall, I assumed that somebody like maybe AEG or somebody else would pick that up. Like, it didn't feel like a Cryptozoic game, so it's cool that they're doing that. Also, something I just wanted to mention about Fantasy Flight, unless you have other surprises.
No. Like I said, those two were the ones I really was surprised because I didn't know how it would work.
Yeah, right.
And the other one was I think it blew past what I would expect.
I just like one thing I noticed playing other games this year. A lot of them, even though I said they had one of the best showings and I had fun playing all their games, a lot of them feel very similar. They're starting to feel very, like, when I look at both Warhammer...
It's all blending together, Jonathan.
Warhammer, Fury of Dracula, Runebound, and then like The Witcher from last year. A lot of them are, you have a unique character with certain abilities, and you're going around a map, and there's like quests to get, and you go there and you do them. So I don't know if it's just like I'm just playing too many games close together, but I'm starting to wonder if there's a pattern of things. Maybe I don't know which. I'm not sure which ones maybe came from the same designers or were all worked on in house at the same place from them. But it's something I feel like that's interesting. I don't know if it's anything you've noticed at all.
Well, I mean, I haven't felt that too much. I mean, certain times of the games I do. I think the one thing I did notice, I don't know, I can't even name any more than besides one, but the one I can remember is the idea of that one card's face up, one card's face down kind of deal.
Oh, that's something else. Yeah.
Attack on Titan had that. I can't remember the others.
Mechanic we first saw in BattleCon.
Yeah.
Where you have a series of cards and you don't know exactly which ones your opponents are going to use, but you both have the same. Well, not necessarily, but
the idea is sort of like half.
It's revealed. You sometimes there's a rock paper scissors element to it. Yeah, it seems like that's happening in like every game now.
Yeah,
that's the new hotness.
No, I mean, well, if you actually ask me, I'd probably say certain games like, yeah, they're similar. I mean, for example, deck building, that alone. It's actually why I love deck building, because usually if you take out a new one, it's like, I am already halfway there.
Yeah.
But I think I don't feel nearly as, like, because I guess maybe just because it's a whole new world or something, usually it still intrigues me. I should have mentioned that actually was one I enjoyed a lot. That was probably near the Fury of Dracula. That was definitely one I liked a lot.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Because I definitely like the idea of I just imagine Dracula just tiptoeing around, just like, here's a monster, there's a monster.
Yeah, that was awesome. So any disappointments or anything you regret that you didn't get to see maybe, or was there anything that didn't quite live up to your expectations?
Well, I regret going with you, but
that can't be
I'm trying to think. Go through my.
I'll start first.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, please.
Well, like things like I walked by. They had Thunderbird set up that we were excited about, but nobody was around to demo it, so I didn't get a chance to try it out. So that was definitely a disappointment. Also, didn't get the chance. Most of my disappointments are just because we were so busy. Didn't get to see. Didn't get to try Medieval Academy. That was kind of a big one on the show this year from Yellow, I think, or was it AEG? I don't know. It's all jumbled around. Anything else? Like, is there anything you wanted to get to but you didn't have
there's
time?
one I didn't. I went to Yellow again. I didn't see Kabuki.
Actually, I forgot to tell you. I did see that.
Oh, thank you. Because when I could not see it. And
I was going to tell you, it was like a small table. They had like half of it was something else. And
that's probably why I didn't see it. Which is interesting because I felt like that was like, I remember in the guidebook, the opening page was Yellow Games. That was one of the big ones. And
yeah, we missed that one. So that's and I'm sad I didn't get to go to level 99, although you did.
I did.
You got to see some stuff.
Yeah, they had some, that reminds me of what I regret. I didn't pick up. They had a Noir, BattleCon version. I was like, oh, that looks cool, but I'll pick it up tomorrow. I gotta catch up with Jonathan. I think I was running to catch you up at Pocket Games actually.
Oh yeah.
And of course, I come back the next day, not there.
Yeah, that's the danger of Gen Con. You have to get in fast and get what you want.
I also like, and I don't know about with all these, but for example, these promo cards. What I hope, I don't know about these in particular because I just grabbed the games because I had them and stuff. We actually heard from the Upper Deck guy. I really hope these promos are either like, look, they're just visual changes. They're not actually, if you didn't go to Gen Con, you're not doomed. I hope that's what they are, or like you said, I like the idea of you can get at BoardGameGeek.com, like kind of like, you're not doomed. I hope these aren't promo exclusive. You no way otherwise.
I mean, I hope so
and too. If these are, that would be a disappointment to me, even if I got them. Because to me, it's almost like you're not getting part of the game. Like they might add just that weird little twist, if you want, in a game.
So overall, compared to last year, better or worse?
Well, better, but I think
forget about our living arrangements.
Yes, that's what made a lot.
Scheduling. But in terms of the new games released and played, do you think we're still going on an upward slope?
Well, I think one thing for us,
same slope going backwards.
I think it was more of straight because I think it's hard for me to judge because I feel like over the year that we've started this and gone to Gen Con, we've been able to get a lot more into board games and actually know about all these different developers. We know actually places to visit and actually talk with a lot more of them. Then they let us know, like the Opulent, for example, which I'm really glad we got a chance to play. And so I think it feels upward, but I don't want to say it's upward because of the Gen Con itself. I feel like it's because we've been able to actually see more of the hidden gems within Gen Con.
Maybe we've gotten better at navigating and finding things.
But Gen Con's becoming a lot bigger, if you didn't notice.
Oh yeah, I noticed.
And I think, and that scares but excites me, because the more board games become more of a, like everyone hearing, the less we hear people like, oh, you sell board games, you Monopoly. Like I would love for Pandemic, Ticket to Ride.
They always have that voice too.
Yes, it's always that voice.
Weird.
But like these games to be something like everyone plays, not just because I want people to know about them, but they're fun things.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, I hope it keeps growing, and it seems like it is not going to stop.
Yeah, and I feel like also board games are, compared to other things, are much more easily have a larger age gap compared to other things. Which I think is really nice. Like you had a whole board game family section, but anyone would probably want to play some of those games. I mean,
we don't need to.
Right.
They know.
So, but I think Gen Con does that well.
Yeah.
And Gen Con also caters to everyone. Like you didn't feel bad cosplaying as a non-board game thing. I mean, it was a place that's still just celebrating.
It's everybody at the convention and everyone in Indiana
Yeah.
is so friendly and welcoming to the convention goers.
And that actually reminds me, because we talked about this. What's interesting is I feel when at Gen Con compared to like some of the other conventions we've gone to that aren't board game centered, there's a lot more enjoyable interactions with other people.
Sure, yeah.
Besides just, can I take your photo?
Yeah, everybody when you sit down with them is...
Yeah, like you're talking about what games you like or moves, and you make jokes of like, I have no idea what to do, or like, I had a lot of plans and now everything's in the air.
Yeah, people are really nice, and except for that one guy. Ugh.
Yeah, what was his name? Will?
That was it. That was the one. Oh, that guy. But anyway, with Gen Con, any final, super final thoughts?
Once again, I'm glad to be there. Gen Con does a good job supporting not only the developers, the city of Annapolis, backing things like this, kind of, so everyone wants to go outside of it.
Sure.
It's definitely, if you're into board games, I think you should try to go once. It's definitely... Unless
find any convention near you where you can, where even if it's just to play games.
No, and like some of the other ones are great like that, and just these board game conventions. But Gen Con's great too, and just to go once because it's just such a great experience for.
I'll also say, as who we are, retailers and stuff. Part of the fun for me of Gen Con is I realized it's kind of the only time of year anymore that I feel like I'm a consumer again. For real though, I get excited because everything, normally a game comes out and I'm like, I wait and we sell it and then I try it out and we'll review it or whatever. But when I'm there, it's like, this is the new stuff is being released now. So I get really excited about just buying it as a gamer and not thinking in my head of how many copies should we get and who's going to want it and things like that.
Right.
So for me, that's a lot of fun.
But at the same time, For me, I'm thinking about like, oh, this is a really cool Kickstarter or something. I wish we can carry this in store, and I get to talk.
Yeah, it's a lot of opportunities.
So I think it's a win-win on both ends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless you need internet.
So definitely want to say thank you to everybody who helped us out, people who came with us, our good friends and coworkers, Ivan Hahn and Neil Sani, who diligently worked on video producing and social media and all that stuff.
I'd like to thank just all the people we met there, just who we talked, some suggestions of places to eat, just the developers. I mean, everyone just made it such a great time.
You know, Mirror Box Games, who make Cosmos, we got to see, and everybody. You know, we already said Black Locust and Chris Handy, and anybody who tweeted us and said, "Hey, stop by and talk to us." Really fun. It was really fun to catch up and all that kind of stuff. So, of course, if you want to see all our videos from Gen Con 2015, they will be available, as I said at the start of the show, rollforcrit.com/GenCon15. And all our other videos we've ever done and regular podcasts will be continuing in the future at our website, rollforcrit.com, where we also sell games. Some of the ones that we mentioned today are already up for sale. But if they want to ask us a question, how can they do that?
Well, of course, they can reach to us through email, rollforcrit@gmail.com. Or if you want something a little shorter, there's also Twitter, @rollforcrit, or our personal Twitters.
Yeah, so if you have a suggestion for a future show or just a question or comment about anything board game related, we would love
something
to hear it.
you enjoyed at Gen Con, or your surprises, your disappointments, we love to hear everyone else's.
If you were there, if you took any pictures, anything like that, send them our way. We'll talk about it on the show. And I think that about covers it. Yeah. So if you had fun, keep watching, stay tuned, subscribe, all that stuff. I'm Jonathan Estes.
I'm Will Keeler, and this is Roll for Crit.